In this week's Burden of Proof, the man accused of murdering conservative activist Charlie Kirk now trying to get the prosecutors disqualified from the case. Tyler Robinson's defense team says there's a potential conflict of interest because the daughter of one of the Utah County attorneys was actually a witness to the killing. Kirk was shot and killed back in September while speaking on the campus of Utah Valley University. Robinson was arrested a week later and charged with aggravated murder, and prosecutors are seeking the death penalty. Robinson has pleaded not guilty. Former federal prosecutor Neama Rahmani joins me now to talk about this case and more. Okay, Neama, do you think the judge is likely to agree with Robinson's conflict of interest argument here?
Andrew, I don't think so, but sometimes the best defense is a good offense. And when you are litigating a death penalty case as a criminal defense lawyer, your number one job is to keep your client alive. And by filing these motions and putting the prosecution on its heels, you're trying to create potential issues on appeal, because we know there's mandatory state and federal appeals in these death penalty cases, and you're more likely to get a death sentence overturned on appeal than actually getting a not guilty verdict at trial. So this is sort of part and parcel what good defense lawyers do. I do expect the motion to be denied because the standard is that there's a substantial risk of actual bias. And here, the fact that one of the attorney's daughters was present, apparently she didn't even see the shooting. I don't think that's enough to get the Utah County Attorney's Office disqualified.
And another high-profile case now, the New York Times reporting that Nick Reiner was placed in a year-long mental health conservatorship back in 2020. Reiner hasn't yet entered a plea. How big of a role do you think or expect mental health to play in his defense against first-degree murder charges in the killings of his parents, Rob and Michelle Reiner?
Andrew, I think it's going to play a huge role in this case. So there's going to be one of two ways the defense does this. First, they may argue that because of his drug use or his mental health issues, Nick Reiner was unable to form the necessary criminal intent for premeditation, first-degree murder, special circumstances here in Los Angeles, California, where I am. But again, that only is going to reduce the murder down to second degree. He's still going to spend a significant period of time in state prison here. It would give him the possibility of parole. The other way it may play in is if they go for the home run, that they argue that he's not guilty by reason of insanity. That is very difficult to prove in California. You have to show because of a mental disease or defect, you're unable to understand the nature and consequences of your actions. Basically, you don't know right from wrong. But if you're able to have an argument with your parents at Conan O'Brien's Christmas party, and then go to a hotel in Santa Monica and clean up afterwards, then go to a gas station and buy a drink, that's not legally insane under California law. But obviously, the defense has to try something, so they may go that route.
And finally here, actor and director Timothy Busfield now defending himself on child sex abuse charges in New Mexico. His attorneys want him to be released from custody, saying an independent investigation by Warner Brothers undermines the allegations, and also that he passed a polygraph test. Busfield hasn't yet entered a plea. What do you make of this case?
Well, the defense is arguing that this is fabricated. The parents have a history of making these types of allegations up, and really they were upset because their two twin boys were no longer on the show. New Mexico is actually unique, one of the only states that does allow polygraphs into evidence. Most other states do not.
Neama Rahmani, thank you so much.